On the last Real Talk, you had mentioned for like the 50th time to me that you do not like Luke Skywalker. You don't think he's a good protagonist. So
All right.
so I need you.
You keep saying that I don't like
You
him.
hate Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I do.
So why? We're doing this today.
All right. We'll do this.
Why do you hate Luke Skywalker so much?
All right, so here's my thing.
Because he is like a beloved character
I don't know
of
why.
movie franchises.
I absolutely don't know why. Okay. Here's a film franchise, and I'm just going to stick to the original 3.
Okay. Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Sure. I'm watching these films, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker in them, and I'm like, okay, cool. There has to be a main character that this story revolves around. The problem is the universe is so much more interesting than the main character. Luke is like the personification of every millennial in today's day and age.
Oh my gosh.
He thinks
Luke Skywalker, the millennial.
in a galaxy far, far away. He starts a film off, a saga off on this planet. We just saw this awesome space battle, and we met this dude in this suit, and you're a rebellion spy and blah blah blah, a traitor, whatever.
Yeah.
Vader and Leia, and you're like, oh right, this is cool. This is cool. And droids escape, jettison pod, nothing there. Well, we won't waste the energy to blast that thing and be doubly sure. We're just gonna let it keep going. God. Anyway. When we land on Tatooine, and you're like, oh, this is cool. You got some, like, droids. These are interesting characters.
You got the scrapper machine, all this cool stuff, the Jawas.
You meet the Jawas, and you're like, all right, cool. And then you roll up, and you're like, all right, here's some old dude needing to buy some droids or whatever. And you got this kid who knows a lot about droids, and he's, like, some super nerdy, like, knows everything about technology.
Sure.
This droid has a bad motivator. Hey, what are you trying to pull here? I don't know, and you just meet him, and he's just like every normal kid ever.
Yeah.
Nothing special about him in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
And then when he's like, I'm going to need you to take them in and wipe their memory. Oh, I want to go there. I don't even know what his
line is. He's going to
buy
some power converters.
Buy some power converters.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You're just like, oh, my God. You're just like every teenage kid. And then the story continues.
Wasn't that supposed to be the point, though?
Sure, but let me continue.
Okay, continue.
So then the story continues, and you're like, all right, good job. You blasted stuff, shot stuff. Apparently you know how to drive a very sophisticated X-Wing. And not only that, you dumb down how complicated these things, both space travel, space battles, and intergalactic travel is.
I mean, he did kind of crap on the fleet.
We're going to take them out. Oh, it's not hard.
I used to T-bone Womp Rats back in the evening.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, you are awesome. You just blew up this big space station. That's so cool. Fast forward to Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
He still walks around like some pompous, arrogant little effer who, from after Empire Strikes Back to Return, all of a sudden he went from I'm gonna be a Jedi Master to apparently I'm the most powerful Jedi Master ever, and you need to fear me, Jabba the Hutt. And then he jumps out, he does a little springboard thing, he's got some battles going on, and that's cool, like he's growing a little bit as a character, but I still don't get past the fact that he's not that interesting, because everybody else around him's way more interesting, like Han Solo.
Okay.
Way more interesting.
So it seems
Jango
like
Fett, way more interesting.
You mean Boba Fett?
Whomever. God, I can't keep the two straight. Yeah. Boba Fett, the green helmet one. The green helmet one. Way more interesting. Vader. You know who's more interesting than Luke Skywalker? The little creature thing that's running the carbonite or kryptonite or whatever the hell that thing is. You know, he's got like, and he pushes the button, the steam comes out. That thing's more interesting than Luke Skywalker. The only time Luke Skywalker, in my opinion, was interesting was when he was fighting Darth Vader, because he stood for something, and that's when he's cool. That's when he's memorable. Or when he's on Hoth and he's chopping stuff up. So in conclusion, Luke Skywalker is only interesting when he's fighting stuff.
Okay.
So then, fast forward to 7. Well, he wasn't in 7. Fast forward to 8.
He wasn't 7. He's in the end.
And it got worse. He went back. He
Well,
regressed.
yeah.
He regressed back to his millennial age. He was just like, well, look at me. I'm just
like
entitled.
a crybaby.
He was a
But now
crybaby.
he's
All he wanted to do was whine. It's like, really?
He went from a millennial to a boomer.
Let me think about this. So, a couple of years passed between
Okay.
Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. You go from in training, I have to finish my training with Master Yoda, to Jedi Master, amazing, spectacular. Now, fast forward 40 years, you've regressed back to the age of 14. How did this happen? How did you not get more stoic? How were you unable to not become more powerful?
Thought we were just talking about the original 3.
I just have a hard time with Luke Skywalker.
I have a hard time with Luke Skywalker in Episode 8 also. So it sounds like...
Here's what it is. Here's what it is. You took the recipe of the hero's journey.
Yep.
You created a protagonist that fits all the spots of the arc.
Follows it perfectly.
You can pinpoint them down to exactly what stage you are and what act, and you know exactly based on Luke's story how much longer the film has to go.
Yeah.
Instead of pouring everything in to make this interesting flavor of ice cream, this character with an interesting ice cream flavor, you pretty much said, it's ice cream, but I'm just going to give you vanilla. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it the coolest box ever. You don't care about eating it. You just care about looking at
It's like
the
the
box.
coolest box, the coolest cone.
It's the coolest ice
the
cream.
The wrapper is gorgeous.
Everything is amazing about it. You put the sprinkles
And then
on
it's
there
vanilla
more
ice
interesting.
cream.
And it's vanilla ice cream.
Like Meyer brand vanilla ice cream.
You got the most important thing, the main character, the main protagonist of a story, and then and you give us vanilla wrapped with all these other intricacies. Where it's like, I think you should do it differently. I think you should put a really interesting character in an almost vanilla world and see what happens. See, my problem is, and especially in 7, 8, and 9, that's what you see with this with the Star Wars films. You see this idea of who's our main character now.
Mm-hmm.
Because we spent all this time on Luke Skywalker, who ultimately had no real importance because he just threw his lightsaber away. It was just a story about him. He was just like a thing there that we needed to have the hero's journey be acted out through. We needed something to make the recipe. And so there it is. Now I'm going to put all these.
But he was the one who took down the Empire. I mean,
and then I'm going to put in all these other cool things.
He was important
but
to
it
the
just happened.
story.
So like going back to my comment about like I would be an amazing Sith Lord in that galaxy, because apparently you don't have to be that spectacular or extraordinary to be a Jedi Master.
So in the original 3, I mean, I think one of the things you're seeing is probably just like datedness of it. I mean, the stormtroopers look like they're bumbling idiots because they couldn't move around a lot in their costumes, and you know they didn't. Especially the first movie, you know, Episode 4, when they're told to shoot, you know, obviously they're literally just going like this, and then
I don't have
there's
so much problems with
pops going
the
off on
technical
camera
of the original film.
But for making a statement like that, you would be a strong person in that world because, you know, like.
Okay, let me rephrase it. Luke Skywalker in our world would get destroyed in a second.
Maybe he has a Force.
Oh man, I got the Force. Give it to me.
I think so. So it sounds like you're.
He doesn't learn anything.
So, okay.
Really? Your family gets roasted, and you're just like, well, gonna go with this stranger across the galaxy now.
Well, but I mean, he learns a lot with Yoda, and he trains through that. You do see him going through training struggles in Dagobah.
In Empire Strikes Back, what was there a flashback when he was in the cave where he heard his Aunt Beru calling out for him as she was getting burned? Nothing. She gets burned. Nothing happened.
He's just
as
like,
far as
oh,
Luke
no.
was concerned, he was just like, haha, not my problem anymore.
See ya,
Galaxy.
Yeah, he was like way more upset about Obi-Wan getting killed than he was his aunt and uncle.
No, I just met you, but Aunt Beru and Uncle whatever, Uncle Aaron, well, see
Peace
you.
out, Uncle Aaron.
I don't know what his name was. I mean, these Owen. There we go, Uncle Owen.
So you have a problem with him because everything else around him is more interesting than him.
Everything. To a T.
I mean,
you don't watch Star Wars to watch Luke Skywalker.
You watch it to watch Han Solo
you
and the
watch
Millennium
it
Falcon
to watch
and
Darth Vader cut off his hand.
Yeah.
You don't watch it to watch Luke Skywalker get his. You don't watch the battle between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker to see Luke go, oh, in the
But
back.
I feel like that Yeah, I do agree to a point, but I feel like that is exactly why I think episode 6 is so good, because ultimately, yeah, you see this kind of whiny brat from episode 4 turn into this guy who's awesome and controlled, and he takes on the Empire and he takes on Darth Vader, but he's still able to bring him back to his wits. Like, that last fight, I felt like was very heavy. It had a lot of
you know what was more heavy than that fight was the fight in Empire where Vader is saying impressive, most impressive. Yes, of course, that is
when he's fighting him in the end.
Yeah, because that's something totally different. But in Return of the Jedi, it's the same fight, except you got the Emperor sitting there going,
well, yeah,
now I step in.
Yeah, right.
And you're just like, what is going on here? I don't know. I mean, he's just not. It's not that I hate him, but the reason I don't hate him is because
it sounds like you hate him.
The reason I don't hate him is because you need a main character in your film, and without him, you don't have Star Wars. So it's
right.
like, bleh.
Yeah. You just don't think he's all he's cracked up to be. He's not like the head honcho of protagonists to you. I mean, he's not to me either, but I think I hate him a little less.
Well, I just feel like I've seen a lot better, way more interesting protagonists.
Sure.
It's not even that he's, like, written poorly, because he's not. He's written really well. Like, I mean, yeah, sure, you want some, like, you know, diamond in the rough type of character or unassuming hero.
He's like an underdog.
Yeah, totally. Like, he is an underdog.
Yeah.
In the most annoying way.
Yeah. I could see why you feel like he's given a lot, because it does seem like that sometimes.
I really don't like the way they intro him in Return of the Jedi. You know, I hope Master Luke knows what he's doing. And it's like, yeah, cool, he walks in a cloak, and there's all this, like, cloak and dagger, literally, type stuff going on. And, you know, Jabba, let my friends go, you've treated us so unkindly, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, whatever, that's cool, but, like...
I kind of liked it, though, because it assumed a passage of time.
I just don't like...
a pretty significant passage of time.
I just don't like where the passage of time went then from after Return of the Jedi to him on this island, and Rey comes up to him and he chucks his lightsaber over his shoulder.
Well, yeah, and nobody's...
Like, what'd you do? You didn't do anything.
Yeah,
you literally didn't tell us jack effing blank about it.
I think everybody could fill in the blanks
They
for
should.
censoring yourself. But I don't think anybody's disagreeing.
Rey was just as useless, if not more.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people would agree with you about Luke's treatment in Last Jedi. But sticking on the original 3, which is what you said you would do.
Okay.
You just don't think he's as interesting as the rest of the world.
He's definitely not.
No, and I feel that. He's more of an underdog character who, yes, there is a very large suspension of disbelief between 5 and 6.
It's like this.
The ending of 5 and the beginning of 6, I mean.
It's like this. The whole entire universe is happening around Luke.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like the kid in the family station wagon, looking out the window, seeing the world passing by. And then when the moment's right, he miraculously stops the villain from robbing his family on the middle of the freeway in the most amazing way. He's a kid he's not driving the car, he's not making decisions of the car, he's not even responsible really for the wellness or well-being of his family, because that should be his dad's job or his mom's job or whomever's protecting him. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there was no build-up, there was no character development as far as, like, I'm going to save us from this villain, and then the kid just does. He, like, walks up with a club or a piece of wood or something, hits the robber in the back of the head when he's got him all at gunpoint.
Yeah.
If you watch
just like Anakin in Phantom Menace.
Exactly. If you watched a film like that, you'd feel cheaped out. And it's like, well, Luke Skywalker, we put a lot of emphasis on because for some reason we all hold this loving endearment towards the first 3 Star Wars, and for some reason we just can't get back what we originally felt with those because they have been subsequently just demolished. And for some reason, though, we still sit there and pretend like Luke Skywalker is awesome. And it's like, well, he's not. Han Solo's awesome because what Han Solo does in the film is awesome. Leia's awesome because she actually does something.
Vader's awesome.
Yeah. You know, Chewie's awesome. Hell, even C-3PO.
Yeah.
And R2-D2, they're awesome.
I mean,
everything happens around Luke,
Yeah.
and he doesn't really do much to change anything going on until the very end when he blows up a space station.
I mean, I do agree that, you know, Luke, as far as characters go and following the hero's journey, yeah, he's a little vanilla. But you need vanilla to make a Neapolitan ice cream.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be, you gotta have the chocolate and strawberry and the vanilla.
The problem is he's not that. He's just he's like, okay, good analogy. Let's go back to that. Luke Skywalker is like opening up a Neapolitan ice cream and discovering that somebody has cut out the chocolate and strawberry and just left you the vanilla.
Just gave you the vanilla square.
You get it? You're like, oh my gosh, it's Neapolitan. Cool. And you open it up and it's just the vanilla square.
Someone just gave you here you go. Like, we already had fun and consumed the good parts.
Or it's like getting cookie dough ice cream. And you're like, oh man, it's my favorite ice cream. I love cookie dough. You get your cookie dough, and you open up, you're scooping it up, you're like, I can't wait to eat this, and you find out there's no cookie dough in the cookie dough ice cream. It's just vanilla in a cookie dough wrapper. That's what Luke Skywalker's like. It's still ice cream, and it's still meant to do whatever you want it to do, and it will kind of make you happy, because, I mean, you know, I'd rather eat some ice cream than no ice cream if I had to choose. Like, I wouldn't just, like, throw away. I would still eat it. But it's just, you know, it's better with cookie dough.
Mm-hmm.
That's my food analogy. I don't know. I just feel like, you know, I don't hate him. I just don't like him. I don't love him. He's not my favorite.
Sure.
You asked me what's a good protagonist. He doesn't make that list. Definitely doesn't make that list. Because he doesn't do anything to make me care about the universe more. The other people do.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of agree with that. I don't know if I hate him as vehemently as you do.
Well, what do you like about him? What redeeming qualities are there?
I mean, I think he's endearing. I think he is an underdog character. But, again, like, when I think about Star Wars and I think about the things that I loved, it is usually the other stuff.
You never remember Luke.
Right, I always remember Vader.
What? You don't even remember that Luke was the one who was locked in the snow cave and had to cut up that beast.
No,
you remember the beast.
I remember that. That's
you remember
cool.
the beast.
You remember the beast, yeah.
Because the beast was cool.
Beast was cool.
Using the lightsaber to cut his hand off. That was cool.
Yeah.
Luke was just a mechanism in which it happened.
Well, but he still did that.
I know. I just feel like I don't watch Star Wars to watch Luke Skywalker. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Sure.
You know? So people say he's a great main character. Look at Luke's story. It's like, no, Luke's story is good. Luke's character sucks comparatively to other characters. If I were to say, pick a good character, Luke Skywalker would not make that list because he just is there.
Good depiction of a hero's journey, though.
Not really.
Luke's up there.
I mean, okay, when do I like Luke? I like Luke on Dagobah. That's good.
He's training. He's going through hardships.
Well, you actually get to learn, and Yoda, but I like Yoda. That's the thing. See, I like Yoda. I like Yoda's reflection. He's a mirror to Luke's identity, and not until Luke realizes his essence, who he's supposed to be, will he become what he's supposed to be. I think lifting the X-Wing out of the water, that's great. That was Yoda.
I would maybe argue, though, if you say Han Solo was the main character.
Sure.
He was going through that.
Film would be totally different.
You might not have as endearing memories of Yoda and Darth Vader.
Like, let's watch that little wiener Luke Skywalker a little bit more.
Yeah, let's do, who's this little green turd? Like, let's watch the main character. He's way cooler, you know? So maybe, because sometimes, characters have a good, sometimes characters are good in that respect, that they are a good catalyst to allow the world to be really cool.
I agree with that, and I think that's fine. And I think that's, like I said, I don't think he's written poorly.
Sure.
I think he's a fine written character. But just from a an interesting standpoint. It's just like, I guess what makes me mad is sometimes it just feels like he along with Rey are just cheap characters. So I feel like, I guess my thing is, I just feel like Luke is a little bit of a cheap character in the sense, like, he's not written poorly. He has a good character arc. He goes through some cool struggles. You get to see his character growth. Yeah, that's really cool. It's just the things that happen when I say he feels cheap sometimes. It's just like these really over-the-top, amazing, extraneous things happen to him and somehow comes off brushing stuff off his shoulder.
Seems like he doesn't have enough struggle.
Yeah. Whereas, like, Lord of the Ring, Aragon, that dude goes through struggles.
Yeah, but Frodo's the main character in that.
Well, I mean, it's a multi-plot.
It's Frodo's the main character.
You follow a lot of people, and we can debate that. But
Frodo's the main character for sure.
Yeah, it's a multi-plot. It's a Fellowship of the Ring. Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Yeah, but
Gimli, not a main character. Aragorn, he's a Return of the King. He is.
Aragorn.
Aragorn. Aragorn, you watch him, and, he goes through struggles. Hell, the whole Fellowship goes through struggles. They all battle. They all learn through their struggles. Luke and Rey, they have struggles, but sometimes it just feels like they're there because they have to have struggles for the hero's journey, and then they come out on top.
You never feel like at any point that they might not come out on top. Well, that's why people like Empire so much, because at the end, Luke got his ass kicked.
Which is interesting because at the end of the film, or when that film originally came out, people were weirded out by that because they're like, you left us with such a weird cliffhanger. Like, that hadn't happened before. And I would argue I shouldn't put Rey and Luke in the same class. Luke is a much better character than Rey.
Yeah, Rey was handed a lot more.
But that's my thing. I think that's why I have such a problem with the newer films is because of what Luke did and, like, the quote-unquote laziness of today's, looking at him from the optics of today's modern filmmaking. It allowed the writers to pretty much write Rey in a way that was just like, well, when we get to the end, we'll see how she does it.
Yeah.
And that's really what it felt like. It was like, we'll get there. And it's just like, it's not that interesting. So I don't hate Luke. I just don't. He's just not my favorite.
Sure.
It's like, whatever. He tells a cool story. Yeah.
But he's vanilla.
Yeah. He's Neapolitan without the strawberry and chocolate. I want some ice cream.
Thanks for joining us today on Real Talk, talking about why Matt hates Luke Skywalker.
Sorry if I offended anybody.
So
it's been a long week. I'm really tired, so
Well, let us know what you think in the comments, and as always, like, share, subscribe, support us, and to continue seeing more content like this. See you on the next one.
Bye-bye.